I like to think about the farm as a kitchen garden, a place where a person could come in and get items that would be great for dinner that day, or lunch, or breakfast. So you could get some greens, you could get some herbs, you could get onions. You know, onions is something that everybody uses, so you definitely want that. And then I also want to think beyond that, like what are some things that we should be eating? What are some things that are interesting to grow, not just in an aquaponic system, but in an urban environment? This is some of the stuff that we're growing this year. Ooh, it just needs to be watered. So this is ceylon spinach. I think some people call it water leaf. It's like a popular leafy green in Nigeria. It's like really high iron content, which is why I'm growing it. This is basil, clove basil. We have here, this is sesame, and back here are peppers. And then down here we have malabar spinach, which is another like dark leafy green. These are habanero chilies. Here, this is more basil, clove basil. This is more malabar spinach. This is more onions. These are tomatoes that haven't sprouted. We have some loofah back here that I put outside a little too early and are slowly starting to come back to life. Okay. Ginger is another one. It's medicinal. It's really good for you. The leaves are edible. So even if you don't get to grow the actual stem, the baby shoots, the baby stem, and then the leaves are also pretty useful. So I like to think about things like that, just thinking out of the box when it comes to what we grow in an urban environment. It's also the reason why I like to grow grains. There's no reason why we shouldn't be growing grains in the city and learning how to grow grains. Especially if you're, growing in community gardens. Things like rice and millet are relatively easy to grow, and there's so many varieties right now that are being bred for the northern climate if you live in the Northeast. So here are some additional things that are just starting to come up. This is kale. These are chives, more onions, lettuce. Over here we have sorghum. I love growing sorghum. That's another grain that is relatively easy to grow. In a lot of ways, it's similar to corn, but the stem is also great to use to make sugar or molasses. So again, it's like, why not be growing that in an urban environment? You actually get more out of it than you would get from corn, because the stem is also useful. And then we have chard here. We have marshmallow plant here. I'm growing marshmallow for the first time, but the reason why I'm growing it is because it grows really well like by marshes, which is great. So in an aquatic environment like ours, marshmallow is perfect. It's also a plant that's medicinal. The leaves are medicinal, and then the root is edible. And originally marshmallow used to come from the root of these plants. Now it's come from sugar, I don't know, something fake and weird now, but it used to come from the roots of these plants. This is an experiment that I'm performing with store-bought potatoes to see, store-bought sweet potatoes, I'm interested in growing sweet potatoes. I did order some sweet potato slips that should be delivered this month. But at the same time, I wanted to conduct an experiment to see if we could actually germinate sweet potatoes from store-bought sweet potatoes. I know that a lot of people do it. However, you have to be mindful of where you get your sweet potatoes from, because they're often sprayed with a chemical that's supposed to inhibit sprouting. So this has been here, I want to say, like for almost 4 weeks now, like 3 or 4 weeks, and it hasn't sprouted yet, which is telling me that these possibly have been sprayed with the sprout inhibiting chemical. One of the reasons I'm choosing to grow sweet potatoes is, again, even one of the wonderful things about sweet potatoes is that the leaves are also edible and super nutritious, and a lot of people don't know that. So why not be growing sweet potatoes so that you can eat the edible leaves and then also get to eat the tubers that you get at the end of the season. And it'll apparently grow really well in aquaponics. I'm interested in experimenting with that too. Yes. This is kind of sad. It's one of the reasons why you should purchase organic. Because you literally don't know what you're eating. Have more rice here, lettuce here, pigeon peas there that are struggling being outside. These are tigernuts. I'm really excited about growing these. They're not actually true nuts, but the nuts are actually little tiny noodles around the stem that are kind of like hazelnut. If you've ever had horchata before, it's actually made with tiger nut. So you can chew on the tiger nut, or you can make tiger nut milk, which is really cool, and it is super nutritious. Another thing that I like to think about is like everything that we grow should be something that's like packed with nutrition, whether it's medicinal, whether it's like a dark leafy green that's, or it's a plant that has multiple uses. So you can use everything from like the grain it produces or to the leaf and the stem. I'm really fascinated with plants like that. Beginning late May, we're going to have our weekly produce list available on our website. And if you're in the New York City area, you can go to www.okofarms.org, go to our produce page, search through our items, and make an order of what you want, and you can come pick up at the farm.